All right, what's up, everybody? We're back with another TagCast. And for this episode, we're actually going to do a perennial character. I believe he's been in every single Tekken that has been out, and that is Paul Phoenix. I know he has a special fan club among Tekken players, so pretty excited for this. So before we start talking some Paul, I do want to, of course, introduce my guest, and that is Neo Jinwoo. Hopefully I pronounced that right. What
Pretty
Pretty
close.
close. Well, enlighten me a little bit to how. Well, I guess how did you even come upon that handle?
Well, it came about. There was a mod for Half-Life, like back in I think 2000. It came around the same time as the Matrix came out, and it was called the Opera. And it was pretty much, it was basically like Half-Life with Matrix mod, and the main character's name was Xian Wu. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. He had a pretty cool backstory, and I essentially once I started started playing competitively, I decided to become the new Xian Wu, so I became Neo Xian Wu.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So I know when Nick was doing our interview thing, he mentioned you. So for those who might not know who you are, just kind of give us a little bit of a background, like where you're from, where'd you start, and how'd you end up with Paul?
Well, I'm from Virginia. Home of like SMP. Locke used to live out here. A lot of top players. Uh, Gen Master. A lot of guys that were pretty big in the scene early on. Um, I started playing didn't really start playing competitively until maybe like latter half of Tekken 4. I kind of dabbled like most of us, kind of dabbled with the early Tekken. Started with Tekken 1, and then just kept kind of playing from there. And 5.0 was probably where I really started going to tournaments, going to V time, going to final round, things like that,
Nice.
and just been playing ever since.
Awesome. Well, I guess we can just kind of jump into the Paul discussion then. Like I said, he's been present in every Tekken. So for anyone who's not familiar with them, you're probably new to the game, if that's the
Yeah,
case.
exactly.
So now I've said this a couple times throughout these episodes that ever since Tag 2 came out, I've kind of been in a character crisis, and oddly enough. I just recently started playing Paul a little bit because I figured, kind of going back to square one. I've been playing Jinpachi and liking him a whole lot, and I figured just sticking with a simpler character would probably be a good way to go until I don't know, until I find a character that I fall in love with. But so with that being said, I know that at least from last time I really played him seriously, they've added some moves to his
Mhm.
to his set. So it's not all about just death fisting all the time. So I guess like start us off wherever we need to know. I imagine I know he deals massive damage. You feel it when he hits you.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's to me, he's more of a fish for counter hits type character. He does have pretty decent pokes, but a lot of them are very linear, so he gets stepped pretty easily when he tries to throw out a lot of pokes. Usual good pokes, of course, his 1-2's been great in like every game he's been in,
mhm.
especially back in DR when all the jabs were 8 frames, so you could pretty much rush people down with 1-2, 1-2. Um, his down for one sway options are probably some of his best, the best part of his poking game. That's down forward one and then immediately hit back. So you can get like sway one, which is on counter hit is the hammer down, but on counter hit it causes a bounce, and you can get juggle follow up from there. You also get sway two, which is a mid which tracks pretty well to his left, I believe, which is his weak side. And then you also get sway uh, 3-2-1 or sway 3-2-4, which is an okay string. A lot of people tend to want to hit buttons in between it, and it's not interruptible on the second hit. So if you get the second hit, everything else is guaranteed. Um, but other than that, his poke game just it's not really there. And I mean, I see a lot of people try to play Paul aggressively, and I personally don't feel like that's really the way you want to play him because he's so linear.
Gotcha. It's interesting that you say that because the way that I um, have always typically played him and the way that I'm playing him now, I know his down 4-2 is great, especially on whiff. Um, and like just kind of setting that spacing game with down one, uh, and just,
Hmm.
kind of waiting for a death fist opportunity mostly like that's mostly how I play him. And you brought up the down forward one sway options that I kind of wanted to ask a little bit about because like personally I still don't really know how to use that effectively because like you said it's he's a little bit linear, so I know
Hmm.
and then like sway 4, that's a high, sway 2 is a high, and then sway 3 is a low, so the only mid option that he has off it as far as I know is the 1. um,
No, Sway 2 is mid also.
Really?
Hmm.
Interesting. I did not realize that. I think you can
Yeah, and
step that though, right? I think.
yeah, you can step it to his right, but it comes out pretty quick, and you can kind of delay it a little bit so it gives some tracking, but it just comes out slower. But it is safe on block. It's like -9.
Is there any like benefit to just doing down forward one sway over and over again? It looks flashy, but I
Uh,
don't know if it's any good.
what I'll try to do is I'll do down forward sway down cancel down forward one. That way you kind of mess with people when you do that, and then you can kind of mix them up from there. But down forward one sway just by itself, you got to kind of commit to it and know your spacing because a lot of times when I play, people have commented on my usage of sway to get out of the way of moves and things like somebody's kind of playing aggressive and they want to try to launch me after a down for one sway and I get away from it and shoulder them, then it's pretty good evasion, but you can't. It's not something you want to rely on because, like I said, you get hit with like an advancing launcher, like say like Dragonov's quarter circle forward 2, and you just get launched because you can't do anything.
Gotcha. All right, interesting. So yeah, I'm definitely in the boat of playing patient, like you are. So when you're playing that spacing game, aside from down forward one and sway, of course, like what other things are you doing?
Um, Usually I'm trying to keep them. I try to keep people at like range 1.5 to 2. That way, a lot of people once you start putting damage on them, they want to start getting crazy, and that gives you good opportunities for down 4-2 to punish whiffs or use Death Fist if they're not sidestep happy. Or if they get kind of dumb, you can use Sway 4 just to kind of keep them honest if they try to sidestep you. But usually I'll try to poke with standing 3 because standing 3 has pretty decent tracking, and a lot of times you don't want to rely on it with the follow up the 3-2 because most people are trained to duck that on reaction
Mhm.
now. But you will get some people who, if you delay it, you'll catch them with a the counter hit 2 follow up, and then you get um, juggle opportunity after that. I also try to anticipate people who like to do a lot of jabs, like they kind of stand back and they'll throw jabs out just to bait a whiff or something like that, and I'll look for that and use thruster, quarter circle forward 1, and that that's probably his best juggle starter because that's the most damage he gets out of any of his juggles is quarter circle forward 1, and follow up from there. Or you can do 3 of them depending on who your partner is, and get filler from there.
Interesting. Yeah, I was never really good at the quarter circle forward one juggles. Like I'm so bad at them. I usually take like the really easy way out, and I just do down back two, and,
Right.
and straight to whatever. But interesting.
Yeah, that's from what I can tell, and from a lot of the juggle testing that I've been doing is thruster after your launcher is where he gets the most damage. So you do like say you can do a hop kick, you can do up forward four thruster, down forward two thruster, of course. And if you're really good, you can throw in two thrusters for extra damage. But that seems to be where the most solo damage comes from is being able to follow up your launchers with thruster.
All right, so let's say that I am curious about his Oki options because most of the time, um, I'm just like I said, I play him very, very simple, straightforward. Now, let's say that you happen to get that counter hit, you get the juggle, no walls, just kind of in the open. Now, do you? I have been ending juggles, at least with my TA. I end it with a death fist for running options, and then for solo, Demo Man. But like, does he have better Oki options than that? Because usually that just resets the situation. Just,
I for Oki, what I'll usually end it with is thruster because they end up face down, feet towards, and gives you pretty good options after that, and it leaves them a lot closer than Demo Man and Death Fist do. You do get. Yeah, I think that's probably the better option in my opinion because you can get pretty close to them and set them up for run up Demo Man if they try to get up or if they try to roll, you can forward them across the back and you still get while standing three. You can also kind of run up and if they try to tech roll, you can instant while standing three for a float and do a down back two and juggle follow up from there.
oh, after the thruster, you can get that.
Yeah, they're coming off the ground. Um, if they try to move, you get a few options, but really his Oki's, in my opinion, isn't really that great. Um, he just doesn't have a lot of the same options as most of the other characters. Like he's got a few floats, like standing three, while standing three, and sometimes down back two can pick him up, but it doesn't. I don't think it has the same properties as it did in six. So I tend to not really use that. I'll usually try to set up for like a death fist, or I'll do a down two if they want to just lay on the ground, try to keep them honest, and kind of like play it from there. But like I said, if they try to get up, if they try to get straight up and their back turn, you can pretty much do whatever you want. You can do like down forward 1-1-2, which is a string, and you can't duck it back turned. Or you can do like 3-2, do wall standing 3-2, and that'll keep them. I think down forward 1-1-2 will hit them to where they're face up, head towards. So they're still kind of in a bad position having to get up like that.
Interesting. All right, so I mean, I can only imagine sort of the same thing plays out at the wall, except there's no pickup options, of course. Now, I've been kind of relying heavily on back two, at least if I think they're going to try to duck or something like that. Is there a better option in that, or what sorts of setups, like wall pressure, are you doing?
For wall pressure, usually staying in their face with down forward ones, trying to because 9 times out of 10 against Paul, people aren't gonna duck because they're afraid of Death Fist. But then you don't want to make it very obvious that you're gonna go for a demo man. So yeah, I would say back twos to keep them from being able to sidestep. But I wouldn't rely on it too heavily because it's a lot slower in this game than it was in than DR. but it is safe. So you do get some options from there. You can also try down forward three, down forward 3-4, or down forward three hold four, and that's delayed and gets you a counter hit crumple stun, and can give you some options from there. Other than that, you just kind of want to play it safe, wait for him to throw something out, and then maybe hit him with Iron Mountain for the quick wall splat, or maybe forward 1+4 if they do a move that can be sidestepped on that side. If they do a move that's weak to the left, but
So even at the wall, you're still kind of hunting for counter hits.
yeah,
Okay.
because like I said, just against Paul, people don't want to duck because they're so afraid of Death Fist that a lot of times it's hard to get them to really duck and get that wall splat. So you got to kind of poke at them a little bit to open them up, and then they'll end up doing something stupid, and you'll get free damage.
Now, one thing that I noticed that is really, really annoying is that all of or his basic one, actually even his command one grab, the back 1+4, and his basic 2 grab, both flip directions.
Oh yeah.
So the only grab that he has that will keep you at the wall are his 1+2 breaks. Now, I mean, sometimes you just have to grab. You just got to do it. But I mean, I'm guessing that you're probably not grabbing a whole bunch at the wall.
I will sometimes. Like I said, if I see somebody really doesn't want to duck at the wall, I'll try down forward 1+2 or forward forward 1+2. You also can try down forward 1+3, the one with the Death Fist follow up.
Oh yeah.
And if you land that, if you land the just frame, you get wall splat, and then massive damage from that.
I completely forgot he had that.
Yeah, because I mean that's 45 damage off the throw, and then you get wall splat into mean ass whooping.
Yeah, usually because I really like the fact that his headbutt, the forward forward 1+2 wall splats, and then in addition to that, you can tag out off of it. So like since I played Pachi, it's like comes in with down forward 3-1 and just crazy damage off of a grab. It starts off with red life damage, which is awesome. That's man, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you'll catch people because it's such a quick throw, and the throw break is a really small window that you can almost. Sometimes I'll just hit them with it twice, just the grab, not the Death Fist part, and they won't break it, and then sometimes you can actually get them to duck after that because they're so worried about getting hit with that throw again.
Interesting.
So just little mind games that can help you out. But like I said, 9 times out of 10, people aren't going to want to duck Paul against the wall unless they just forget that you have Death Fist and then you just punch them in the face.
Now, real quick, the Death Fist grab, if you don't get the just frame version, I imagine it's just...
They can block and it's negative 18, okay. So they can... It's really, really bad because they can pretty much... Anybody can launch you at that point. Because you don't get the pushback that you normally would, so they're right in your face. So they get whatever launcher they want, basically.
Gotcha. Now, what determines the just frame? Is it like the timing on between the down, forward, and forward, or
Yeah, it's like it seems to be when you land the punch. That's when you do the just frame Death Fist, and I think from what I feel, it has to be the perfect Death Fist, which is I want to say 13, might be 13 or 14 frames. But yeah, you have to do the perfect Death Fist to get it to get the just frame on the throw.
Yeah, unless they change the frames on Death Fist, it should be 13.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm so glad you reminded me of that. I'm gonna use the shit out of that grab.
Telling you, man. Like I said, you get him against the wall, and like I've had people, like I said, they don't want to duck because they're afraid you're going to death fist them. So I've done it like 2 or 3 times, and they won't break the grab. And then the last time I'll hit them with maybe like a demolition man or just go for a death fist, and they get I don't know if I can say mine effed, but
Oh yeah, you can say whatever you
they get
want.
yeah, they get mind fucked, and it's just like I don't want to duck, but he's gonna throw me again, or he might do something to where I just die, and it's just you turtle him up, and you can pretty much do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm just like his just normal one grab seems to give pretty decent Oki, but I just really hate it when grabs don't
Hmm.
leave you at the wall. It's like I want to keep my wall pressure. I
Right.
don't want to lose.
You can also do 2+4 back, which is his the variation of his two grab, and that leaves him on the same side.
Man, all these grabs I'm forgetting about.
Yeah, I've mained Paul's since 4, and then just kept playing the entire time. Even when they changed Iron Mountain for the worse in Tekken 6, I was highly upset about that. But I've worked around it and just done other options.
Now, when you say for the worst, I remember when he originally had it in T4, and it was amazing because it didn't give you
Yep.
any of that block stun crap. But it was like a true just frame though. But when you say change it, you mean just the fact that they made it, the old
Like
school stun, but easier to do.
no, the I never had a problem with it being pretty punishable on block and not really having the same pushback. It's that the tracking on it was in 5 and DR. Like in 5, it was amazing. Like it damn near tracked 360. Like you could not get away from Iron Mountain. And DR they toned it down a little bit. Tracking was a little bit worse, but it wasn't that bad. But in 6, they just completely redid the hitbox on it, and for some reason, the move just on some characters it just won't hit. Like I've had situations against Lily doing down back 4, and throwing out an Iron Mountain because I see the low, and you just won't hit her. Like the the hitbox just doesn't hit. Like you literally just slide in front of her. The down back 4 doesn't hit you, but you don't hit her. So you still get your negative frames as if you whiffed Iron Mountain, and you get no benefit from it.
You know, I've noticed that. I mean, this I'm sure every character has something like this, but like if I'm really going YOLO with Paul, like I'll do shredder kicks, and I've
Hmm.
noticed stuff like just as an example, I was playing earlier, and I ran into a couple of Armor Kings online, and he did down back 3, and I was like, man, fuck this, I'm just gonna shredder kick YOLO, whatever. So I shredder
Right.
kick, and they whiff, and like for no reason, like I'm well within range for those to hit, and I it's weird. Like the hitboxes on them are so weird that he
Hmm.
was still
Well,
able to go under them.
the beginning of Down Back 3, because I played Paul Armor King as my
Mm.
team. The beginning of Down Back 3 does go under some mids. It's just the like the beginning of the move. After a certain point, it would get hit, but right at the start of it, it will duck under mids.
Which is so silly. So
Yeah,
silly.
I agree. Believe me, you're preaching to the choir.
There's a lot of moves
I
like
hate
that
things
in
like
this
that.
game that seem to do that. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Oh well. All right. Well, we got some decent wall game juice, which is awesome. Now I know you mentioned doing Iron Mountain, which I guess is a good segue into his punishment, because I know his punishment is pretty solid. I mean, you mentioned jabs, just generic at 10, But at
Hmm.
12, his back 1-2 is really good. And then Iron Mountain after that, um, which I mean, it makes him extremely scary against the wall with that.
Yeah.
Um, and then does he have anything at 14? Back three?
At 14, he has
Yeah,
back
back
three.
three. Yep. So I guess technically he can launch at 14.
Yeah, you can actually launch quite a few things at 14. He can launch Ravens forward forward 3. Can launch Jacks down forward 2. I'm not too sure about other moves, other launchers that people throw out that are like negative 14. But the only problem with back 3 is the range. Like the range in that it's high. It does track to his right, which is his weak side. So you can use it out in the open to keep people honest if they're trying to step him. But like I said, the only problem is that it's high and it has very very short range. But you get excellent damage off of it.
And then of course he gets a plethora of moves at 15.
Hmm.
Got a batch of launchers.
At down forward 2, you get perfect death fist if you can land it. Yeah, shredder kicks is just, yeah, everything else after that point is just is good, but anything within 10 to 14 is kind of iffy.
Now, do you uh maybe I'm just outdated on the Paul knowledge, but I know that a perfect death fist used to be 13 frames if you could do the down forward, just perfect. Um,
Hmm.
Now, do you rely on that in any situations, or are you? I know for sure I'm not good enough to do it. Like in that clutch, punish a 13 framer or negative 13. Do you ever find yourself like in situations where you can do that, or it's better to
Um,
do it?
Most of the time, I'll do it if I'm playing a Paul mirror, because Death Fist punishes Death Fist. So if they throw one out, or they do down 1-2 on block, you can punish it with Death Fist. So in those situations, I'll try to throw it. A lot of times I don't like to risk it because sometimes you might be a little off and you'll you'll get launched for it. But if it's something that I know I can land it after, then yeah, I'll do it.
All right, and then I did want to ask a little bit, sort of a more general question about his wall standing punishment because he has wall standing 4 and then the new wall standing 3 at
Hmm.
13, and then I believe wall standing 2 is 15 frames, right? Or is it slower than
Yeah,
that? Okay.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
15
So he
frames.
has, your standard 11, 13, 15, but the wall standing 3 is new. And I
Hmm.
heard that, I mean, obviously that's a pretty big beef. Um, how big? Let me ask you that. How big do you think that is to his?
Oh, that move is amazing. Like it's so good that he actually has a good while standing Punisher like that because before he didn't have anything at 13, so he was forced to while standing 4, or if it was something heavy, while standing 2. So having that definitely opens up his punishment game. And I mean sometimes you can honestly do it and delay it, and the 2 counts as a counter hit stun, just like standing 3-2. So you actually get juggle after it if somebody gets crazy, wants to hit buttons, and you delay it and counter hit them.
And I know it also, and now you mentioned forward 4 earlier.
Hmm.
Now he can like legit juggle off of that
Yeah,
with
exactly.
it, which is
Like it's not the little bootleg juggle that he
yeah.
had back in DR and 6. He can actually do something off of it. Well, granted, in 6 he could do you could do 4-4-4 down back 2 back 1-2 and juggle off of it like that. But you get a little bit of a damage buff now that you can while standing 3 after it.
Now, do you find yourself while standing 3 after any other launchers or anything like that? Like there's
I tried it every once in a while just to see how the damage was, but just after all the testing and everything, thruster is just a better option.
all right, and then yeah, I think we pretty much went over his whiff punishing and death fist end of the list. But let's see. So, one thing I did want to ask about, sort of in the realm of punishing. Whenever I start up a match, if it's somebody I don't or never played before or anything like that, sometimes I play the spacing game and just kind of dance around. But I do try to test a couple of things because I need to know if they can handle it. The first is Death Fist. Do you know how to punish Death Fist? Because that's huge.
Right.
And then also forward 4-2, just frame 1. And that actually leads me to 2 questions. One, do you ever, or do you find yourself using that ever? And then also the forward 4-2, regular 1. And I know that has a cancel with back. Is that anything that is that applicable at all? Like, is that even fast enough to do? Because it feels like if you actually cancel it, like he doesn't recover fast enough to really make good. But
well, what I usually used to do, like when it first came out in 6, everybody was doing 4-4-2-1, the regular one into the cancel, hold back, and then use a down 4-2 immediately after. I think I want to say the move was like +1 maybe. Let's see. Because when I was using it, I still use it from time to time. What I'll do is if I pick up on somebody dashing in or just to check their backdash, because some people will just try to backdash away from you and just not stay consistent with it. So I'll throw out a 4-4-2 just frame 1 just to check how their backdash is, and sometimes you can catch people on sidestep with it if you do 4-4-2-1. The mid, the only time I really do the mid is if I know I'm playing against somebody who will typically duck the just frame 1, and they want to duck it so bad that I'll throw out the mid 1 and just catch them with it.
Now I noticed on counter hit, forward 4-2-1 is guaranteed. Was that in T6? Because that feels new.
2-1 or the just frame 1?
Just the regular one, but on counter hit. If the 4-4-2 hits counter hit.
I think if you do full crouch, down 4-2-1, which is like it looks almost like the same move, that's guaranteed. But 4-4-2-1 on counter hit is not guaranteed. So you might have been catching people hitting buttons.
Well, interesting, because I'm actually sitting in practice right now, and it's
is it?
Yeah. Well, and that's why it shocked me, because I accidentally did it like a while ago, because I was just in practice, doing random stuff, and I messed up the just frame, but I had counter hit turned on, and then it registers as a hit. When you have guard all on,
you got guard all on. I don't know, because practice mode does have that glitch where sometimes things will still register as combos.
I am going to switch my characters and see if I can do anything about it.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was really weird, because it's, obviously it's not guaranteed. A normal hit, but I didn't think it was guaranteed at all, and then I saw that it was.
Right.
What is?
But with 4-4-2-1, the back cancel, like I said, what I usually did, like everybody else, was holding back and then throw out a down 4-2, because for whatever reason people like to try to hit buttons after it. Outside of that, a lot of people nowadays they'll just, they see it coming and immediately try to jab because they see you going for the 4-4-2-1. So if you do the mid option, they'll just try to jab you after it, and that just doesn't work out too well.
Now we did talk a few different times about tracking, and I did want to ask about that because you already said that that you tend to kind of fish for counter hits, play a more spacing sort of game. Now let's say that the pressure is on and that you want to get in, or maybe you're just behind on life or something, you need to get in. What what's a good way to do that?
Well, you don't want to rely too heavily on 4-4-2-1. You can kind of use it if, like I said, if you see your opponent backdashing and you believe you have a pretty good chance of catching them on their backdash, or if their movement isn't quite as good. But other than that, I if you know they don't duck that often, you can do quarter circle forward 3, which is a pretty good move, and on counter hit gives a knockdown with feet towards, face down, feet towards. So you get that option of pretty good Oki option with them being forced to get up with their back towards you, and you can set up for like demo man or shredder kicks depending on give them that 50-50 Oki option. Um, Other than that, sometimes I'll try to get in with like dash up 3 because like I said it tracks pretty decent and it's safe on block, or I'll come in with instant while standing 4, or or just look for them to kind of throw out. Some people just like to throw out random jabs just in case you try to run up and hop kick and try to float you. So I'll just kind of dash in and thruster to try and crush it. But other than that, you don't really want to do too many of his forward moves like forward forward forward. Sometimes you can throw that out because I mean it is safe on block, but it's also it's not steppable, but it's walkable. So if somebody sees you throwing that out at distance, they might try to jab float you out of it if they're paying attention, or they might just walk it, and you kind of get screwed over.
So what aside from the quarter circle forward 3 sounds like a pretty good option. I mean just based on the look of it, I don't use it much, but I'm guessing it has pretty good tracking on it. Now aside from that, I like what or what sort I guess what sorts of things are you doing to counteract the his issue with tracking?
Um,
I know you mentioned back 3 if they you know
yeah, back 3, back 2. If they're at range 1 to 1.5, I'll try to set up sway 4, or maybe down forward 1 sway 4, or try down forward 1 cancels, down forward 1 sway cancels into like sway 4 or sway 3, just to try to keep them from being able to step. But other than that, you just gotta kind of wait it out and not really get impatient, because like I said, his main problem, in my opinion, is that he's so linear that it's easy to get around a lot of his moves.
All right, so it sounds like you just gotta play patient then.
Mm-hmm. Like I mean, I see some Pauls, just go out there YOLO and just they give no fucks whatsoever, throwing out shredder kicks and everything, and I mean it works for a little while until the person catches on, and then you know they start stepping everything you do and launching you for being stupid, and then you just die.
Yeah, Paul is very much like the quintessential Yomi character, where if you guess right, you're going to get a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't guess right, you could be eating a lot of damage.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I guess the whole live by the sword, die by the sword sort of deal.
Yeah, I mean he is 50-50. Like you think of 50-50, you think of Paul, because either you guess right and you win, or you guess wrong and you lose. It's just that's just the way Paul is. A lot of people like to say he's a really easy character to play, and I mean he is. He's probably one of the most basic characters in the game. The only thing is, just because he's the easy character to play, he's not an easy character to win with. And I try to reiterate that to people all the time. It's like he's not an easy character to win with by any means because of the shortcomings that he has. Now, when he lands, a random death fist and you eat like 70% of your health, then that's essentially like Lars landing an up forward three and winning because Lars has all these other options. We don't, Paul. We don't have the same. Uh, I guess you could say don't really have the same buffs. Hashtag buff
Yep,
Lars.
Buffaloes.
That other characters have. So you just that's why I say Paul to me is better played as a more patient and using the crush system to your advantage because that just seems to be the real way to play him, in my opinion.
No, I can definitely see that. Like I've been, you mentioned quarter circle back for a few, or sway back, sway forward a few times. I love that move because yeah, it tends to for people who get jab happy or um, like if you're sitting right outside that one range, it's so good at counter hitting.
Yep.
And then yeah, I don't know if it's a true homing move, but I mean it definitely tracks well for sure. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, it is a homing move. Yeah, you can't step that at all.
So yeah, I mean moves like that, I love using that, and then people, yeah, down forward two is great. Goes under stuff, completely safe launcher. So yeah, just playing patient like that, and then when you get your Oki opportunities, um, making sure that you guess right.
Yep.
But it is one of those things to kind of the other side of that coin. It does seem to depend a lot on character knowledge. Like if you run into somebody who doesn't know how to punish something like Death Fist, I mean, it's game on. Like it's just
Yeah,
a field
exactly.
day.
Yeah, if they don't know how to punish Paul, then you just do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter at that point. Throw out shredder kicks, throw out death fists. If they're not punishing you, then just do all the moves in the moves list.
And I guess that I mean
Now,
that
if
is something for people who I don't know if anybody out there is struggling for Paul. I mean, make sure that you know how to do that. There are a few games or a few moves in this game where you need to know how to punish them. Death Fist is among those. So
yeah, if you don't punish that move is launch punishable. Same thing with Demolition Man on block. Both of those are negative 18. So if a Paul does that in your face and you don't punish it, he will keep doing it until you do. I guarantee it.
yeah, and then while we were talking, I did check, put the computer. I used the key charge, but I put them on record for forward forward 2-1 counter hit, and I could not block it. So here's that. It's not guaranteed on regular hit. Like you have to hit the forward forward 2 on counter.
On counter hit.
But something random to approach with, I guess, at the wall if you want to.
Yep.
For people.
Like I said, dude, a lot of times people, if you try to do the just frame one, people want to duck it on reaction. So you can throw out the mid option against the wall, and then you get your wall splat.
Interesting. Let's see.
Oh, another thing with 4-4-2, a lot of people don't like to do 4-4-2-2, which is I think it's called Riptide, the one that flips them up. What I'll usually do with that, because you can hold back and cancel, and I'll mix it up with some full crouch down forward 1-2 mix ups from there. Like I'll do 4-4-2 back full crouch down forward 2-1, or you can actually do forward forward 2 2 back, and then full crouch 1+2 for his new heavy low.
Mm. Now, is there and I notice you can do quarter circle forward 1+2, and that'll
Mm-hmm.
come out. Is there like any good usage for that? I mean, it looks like he stays pretty low, but I don't know if he can get hit out of that or anything like that.
No, it high crushes. I think it can actually go under some mids at the startup. So what I'll usually use it against, like I said, some people like to, throw jabs out at the start. Against Mishimas, it's great because, they'll throw out electrics and it'll, you know, take out electrics, and you get pretty good juggle damage off of it. Usually what I'll do is quarter circle forward 1+2, run up 3 2, stand jab, forward 1+2 bound, and then follow it up from there.
Now, do you if I know you can obviously parry it, but is that safe?
It is only -12, so only no one can launch it. All they get is a wall standing 4. So it's kind of cheap in that it's such a good move, and it's only while standing 4 punishable. But with all the other things that Paul has that are launch punishable, I think it's a good trade off.
Yeah, yeah. You don't have to really worry about finding opportunities to punish him on something.
Exactly.
Now, I did want to ask about his sidestep moves because I used to be a huge fan of sidestep 3, but
Hmm.
I don't know if it's gotten slower over the years or what. But like everyone seems to be able to see that fucking move now. So
Um,
and generally speaking, I know he also has sidestep 1. I don't know if
mhm.
you find any use for that move, but
Sometimes, like most people can see it coming, so they'll duck it on reaction. It is safe, and I think it's like plus. I want to say like plus. Yeah, it's +8 on block. So if somebody does it, then you kind of get some pressure from there. Like you can. A lot of people either want to hit buttons immediately after thinking that they can throw something out, or they'll just turtle up and just try to block you, maybe get like a demolition man after it or something like that. um Sidestep 3, I use it on occasion. I don't like to rely on it because, like you said, people just for some reason see it coming,
mm,
but you can delay it pretty much at the end of his sidestep. So you can complete the sidestep. He's almost in back in his regular fighting position, and then hit 3 and do a really really delayed sidestep 3. And on counter hit, you get a guaranteed down 2.
all right. Now, I speaking of sidestep 3, it does remind me of his low pokes. Now, um, I don't know what your opinion of them are, but like down back 3 is okay. It's good. It's like has really good range, good damage, and of course down back
Hmm.
4 generic shin kick. Gotta love that move. But otherwise, like I'm not really sold on back 4. I'm not a huge fan of that move.
That's actually a pretty decent move to keep people honest and sidestepping because it does track. So if you're at range 1 or 1.5, 1.5, you can use that to keep them from stepping you. It's a good little poke, but like you said, it's not great. It's just something to keep to kind of keep momentum, or keep them from doing too much as far as like their movement and everything. Because I mean, it is -13, so you can take a chunk of life for just kind of throwing it out, but it is +1 on hit, so you kind of get a little bit of option off of it. Maybe like a back 4 and then kind of sidestep if they try to do something. And a lot of people just don't see it coming because he's not crouched, so you might be able to get away with 1 or 2 of them.
Now, I know you said earlier that his poking game isn't that great. Do you feel the same way about his low pokes?
Yes, yeah, his lows are pretty bad. Down back three, like you said, is good. It's quick. Um, I have noticed that the tracking isn't really there sometimes. So, you might throw it out and somebody might step it and, you get punished for it. Um, he's got generic down back four, like you said. Other than that, he really doesn't have anything. Like, he's got Demo Man, which, that's probably his best low, but a lot of people just anticipated if, they're blocking all your death fists, obviously you're going to go for Demolition Man at some point. So it's just, I think Quarter Circle Forward 3 is probably one of his better lows, but the only problem with that is that it's minus 19, so it's launch punishable, so you don't want to use it too often. Um, and Quarter Circle Back 3, which looks almost the same. You can sometimes what I'll try to do is I'll mix up Quarter Circle Forward 3 and Quarter Circle Back 3 because they look almost the same, and on counter hit you'll get Quarter Circle Back 3. You can follow up with the 2-1, the rest of the string. So like you said, his lows, at least in my opinion, really aren't that great. So I tend not to go low too often, just to be able to get a Demolition Man in there and keep people from ducking too often. But it's also kind of good to get them to duck for Death Fist or I want to say down forward two, but his down forward two doesn't launch crouch. So yeah, it's pretty much trying to set him up for Death Fist. Just occasional low pokes, side step threes, down back fours, um, back fours, quarter circle forward threes on at like range 1.5 or 2, and just kind of play it like that because he's like some of the other characters. He just doesn't have enough safe lows to really make his lows worth it.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the quarter circle back three string because that's one that I like rarely use and need to start using more because I don't believe quarter circle back 3-2-1 that's not punishable, right?
It is safe, but you can duck both options. You can duck the one ender or the four ender. Both of them are low. So they're like I said, if you can get people to kind of hit buttons in between it, the two is uninterruptible. So you land the two, and both follow ups are guaranteed.
Because I mean that if you do the 2-1 ender, like that is a healthy chunk of damage.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize it did that. It's crazy.
Yeah, the one ender. Let's see. It says it's 33 damage by itself. So I mean that's really really good damage. It's just like I said, both enders can be ducked. So it's um it's okay. Like I said, you don't really want to throw it out too often because of the fact that they'll you know they can see it coming. But a lot of people, for whatever reason, they're trying to duck early. So when you get the 3-2, you can land the two, and you can hit confirm the two, and get the one guaranteed.
Nice. I like that. All right. There's something else I was going to say. Oh, I did want to ask real quick because I forgot to ask about it when we were talking about the wall
Mhm.
game. For me, I'm usually using down 1-3-2 as his wall damage stuff. Is that right, or does he have something more?
Oh, down 4-1-2.
No, his hammer
Yeah,
punch and then the
yeah, down 4-1-2. As far as wall combos, that's the easiest and most consistent. And that's typically what I do. I try to go for more for consistency over a lot of flashy damage. I've seen videos where people have done down for one cancel, down for one shoulder, or down for one cancel, down for one demolition man, and I have pretty decent execution, but my execution isn't good enough to do that on a regular basis. So I just go for down 1 4 2, just for guaranteed damage.
Yeah, I like the for whatever reason, just because the spike that the one gives you, the down one. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, I mean it's super consistent. So I prefer consistency as well if I can get it. Um, so yeah, I'm running out of questions here. But I mean, like you said, he is a pretty simple character, straightforward. Is there anything that we haven't talked about? I guess we haven't talked too much about like his tag options and stuff. Now,
Um,
I don't know if there's anything like super special that you should be doing.
thruster is your best option for tagging out. Um, he really doesn't have. He's only got like two taggable launchers. Unfortunately, uh he's got quarter circle forward one thruster, and while standing two is taggable, but leaves them at face down, feet away. So if you have a character that can, benefit from that, then that's good. But, you'll have to kind of adjust your juggle for that situation. Um, he can tag off of forward forward 1+2 is throw, but that's pretty much it. That's all he has as far as anything that's taggable.
Now, for tag filler, like let's say you bring him in, um, what I've been like typically doing shredder kicks, but I have no idea if there's something better that he had.
Which shredder kicks have you been doing?
The
Forward forward.
up forward 3-4.
Yeah. Do forward forward 3 4 4. That's so far out of testing. That's been his best filler. Now I'm not sure what your team can actually get off of it because it does push them pretty far. So you got to kind of adjust from there. But that is his best filler. I used to do Demolition Man, and I mean with Armor King it still worked because I could still do Instant Shining Wizard um, as the ender. But with other teams, like I've tried playing Paul Miguel, and it didn't really work too well. Um, you can always do Thruster also as a tag filler for sandwich combos. You just have to kind of get the angle right to where the Thruster will hit them and knock them back towards your point character. And
I have to imagine that's pretty inconsistent.
I mean, once you get it down, it's just a matter of timing, really. But yeah, I mean, that's one a pretty good option, and you can do down forward 1 1 2, which is a pretty decent filler. But the only one that I really use is 4 4 3 4 4, just for the sheer amount of damage that I get off of it.
Oh, wall carry before I forget, because that's actually one thing that I've been struggling on,
Sure.
because he doesn't seem to have very good wall carry. Um, does like 3-2 is like typically my ender if I need wall carry, and I feel like there's got to be something better than
Um, yeah, I mean that's really all you have for wall carry. Either that or run up and thruster. You can land thruster pretty late in the end of most of your filler. Like depending on who your filler is, but you can end it um, pretty late with thruster. So that would probably be his best wall carry.
that. And that's it. Okay, so I was right. It does suck. Good
Yeah,
to
yeah,
know.
he's not a very good wall carry character, unfortunately. And wall being his one of his better positions, it just they can't give him everything, I guess.
Yeah, I guess not. All right. Well, I can't really think of anything else that we didn't touch on. Is there anything like any moves or anything that you can think of that we didn't talk about that's important for him?
Um, no, I think we pretty much covered basically everything. We went over his punishers, his launchers, neutral game, and counter hits. I mean, I got the game here, and I'm trying to think of anything else. But no, I can't really think of anything. I mean, like I said, with his juggles, you want to best start of a juggle is thruster. So far, I've found that doing like down forward two thruster, down forward one sway one is probably the most damage that he can get solo after a down forward two, and that's like 70. Let's see, yeah, it's like 75 damage, which isn't too bad. And then you can also get it off of hop kick up forward four. You can't get it off of up forward three because it doesn't launch them as high, and you can't get it off of shredder kicks. Same situation, doesn't really launch them as high. But yeah, just work on thruster as your secondary move after a launcher, and try to get double thrusters, quarter circle forward one, quarter circle forward one, and that's probably his best solo damage combo is being able to land multiple thrusters and into bound.
So, with all that being said, with everything that we've gone over, what is your opinion of him? Do you think he's like how do you feel about him?
Uh, he's like I say, he's kind of a jack of all trades. He's not the greatest character, but he's definitely not the worst. I've played Paul forever, and I'm comfortable with playing the character, even at a tournament level, and just I like playing him. He's frustrating sometimes when you go against somebody who has really good movement and you can't really impose your game because they're stepping everything you do. But I'm just character loyalty. I can't see myself playing other character other than Armor King.
Gotcha. Now, how long have you been playing Armor King for?
Ever since DR, once they announced him, I was immediately like, yeah, I'm playing Armor King, just because he looked badass. And like that was the when final round had or was it final round or might have been NEC when they first brought the tag cabinets in, and I got the chance to actually get my hands on the game, and just that was my team. Like I hadn't seen anyone play that team at all, so no real I had no real plans going in. It's just I saw some of his other moves um, that he had, and just kind of had to go over everything in my head from there. And then with a little help with from Battle Jitney, Quintel Brown, we kind of did some lab stuff, and just that team does ridiculous damage just off of the simplest launchers, like quarter circle forward or sway four. I can get 114 damage, like guaranteed, off a counter hit sway four.
Yeah, Sway 4 is really beefy. That's like
Yeah.
44 damage by itself.
Yep. By itself, and then with it's just that team just does ridiculous amounts of damage. But the only thing is, I can't take a lot of red life, which that's good and bad, I guess. A lot of a lot of the time I don't really worry about the red life because of the fact that if I land, two juggles from my team, your character's dead. So I I usually don't worry about the red life because if you bring in another character and I do the same combo, now both of your characters are sitting at 40% life, and all I need to do is land one more juggle and you die. So
Nice. Yeah, we actually just got done doing the Armor King podcast. I'm a huge fan of him. He was ass in T5, but he's good. I liked him in T6 as well.
yeah, he was really bad in DR, and I mean I still liked playing him
Mm,
anyway. He he kind of felt like an incomplete character, like they kind of added him in, but they didn't really give him anything. And King was so much better than him, but I never liked playing King. He's just for some reason he just never appealed to me. So I played, Armor King, and despite his slightly lower damage on his juggles and, some of the more inconsistent things with like his ground grabs, I just kept playing him. And then in 6, he was amazing. They buffed him quite a bit, and then in this game
really good.
it, yeah, he's really good. That's all I can say. He's just really really good.
Yeah, even if you are tangentially connected to Mishimas, you are good in this game. It's just,
Exactly.
you have some weird story connection to a Mishima, you are good. But yeah, there's a few characters that oddly enough are like that in this game that feel incomplete. Like they just kind of threw them in there just cuz. But cool. Well, yeah. If there's nothing else that we missed, then very informative stuff. Hopefully, my own Paul can up his game a little bit. So at the end of the episodes, I do like to give the open mic, so to speak. So if you have any shout outs or like if there's anything that you want to hype up or promo or whatever, by all means.
All right. Well, I do want to give a shout out to my team, Perfect Input. I just recently joined, and I am the official online streamer. Unfortunately, can't make it out to as many tournaments now with my son being born probably within the next few weeks. So my competitive career for this year is kind of on hiatus, but I will be at final round next year. Also, shout out to Nick DeJesus for Tekken Chicken. As he posted on Course Tekken Academy, I'm doing a lot of the GIF work for his for the upgrade. So you guys need to support that. Put some more information in there so we can get that and have possibly the best Tekken app ever created. Um, Also, check out my stream. I am gonna start streaming again pretty soon. I've just been busy with the kid on the way and everything, but I will start streaming again. That's at twitch.tv/neoceanwoo. And just check me out. I got the best Tekken tunes in the fighting game community.
The best.
And other than that, I appreciate the opportunity to, just kind of talk about my favorite character.
Cool. Well, yeah, thanks a lot for coming on and giving everybody the Paul knowledge. With that, I think that's all I got. So, thanks everyone for listening. As usual, not sure who's going to be next. Just kind of whoever comes down the tube, and has some free time, and we'll get it done. So, but yeah, that's all that I got. So thank you once again for coming on, and thank you everyone for listening. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, definitely hit me up, and we will catch you guys next time. Later.